Hey guys, it is good to see you. It's Ryan here with DP Marketing.Services, author on the book on digital marketing for plumbing and HVAC contractors, also the host of Blue Collar CEO. It's good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you're doing well. Hey, coming at you with the video, it's a little bit technical. So if you followed us for long, you know that we talk a lot about tips to help grow plumbing, HVAC, home service companies in general. And one of the tools that we use a lot on our side is SEO. If you don't know what SEO is, I'm not going to bore you with it. I've got lots of other videos. I've got lots of explanations. I've got stuff about it in my book. Basically, it's a way of helping your business rank on different search engines. And one of the questions that happens a lot is like, why does SEO take so long? And I thought this is actually a really good conversation point because it's easy if you're on the outside, if you're not kind of in the minutia, if you're not in the weeds or the mechanics of the different things that go on with SEO, you might be like, it's all the same. I'm paying for SEO or someone's doing SEO. Why isn't it going as fast as I want or whatever, right? So a couple things. One, as kind of a baseline, understand that SEO, generally speaking, there's three types of SEO. There's going to be what's called on-page, off-page, and technical. On-page is going to be like words and code specifically on your website itself, right? This can be metadata. This can be title tags. This is stuff that's actually on your website. If you pulled it up, if you looked at it like a robot would look at it, like you would see these things on your website. Off-pages things are going to be off your website. These are going to be things like backlinks, review sources, social signals, things like that. These are things that you can't easily do. They take a lot of work and a lot of effort. And then the third is going to be technical, and it has to do with like site security, how fast does the platform load, things like that. Generally speaking, things that load faster rank better, but without all three, you're going to kind of always struggle, right? Because it's just a awkward sort of stool to sit on. So for this video, I'm going to use the assumption that all three are being done. So your on-page is done correctly, your technical SEO is done correctly, and the off-page SEO is done correctly. So I'm going to make the assumption right there that whoever you're paying, if you're doing it, if you hired someone, if someone in-house is doing it, whatever, I'm going to make the assumption that all three of those are being done to par. They rarely are. However, let's just assume that they are, okay? So I'm going to use a weird metaphor. Let's use, I've got some props here. I'd like to thank a mysterious donor who always sends me these little rubber duckies in the mail. I have a whole bunch on my desk, and I have no idea who sends them to me, but whoever you are, thank you. These are for you. Okay, so when you are doing SEO, imagine you have two websites. Right, this is a website, and this is a website. And for Google's standpoint, they look similar. They're both kind of pinky, purpley. They're both like Easter themed, apparently. And Google's trying to figure out which one of these is most relevant to you. Okay, so imagine you're in a city like Chicago or Dallas or Denver or Boston. Pick the town you're in. Of all the people who live in your town, of all the people who are plumbers or HVAC or all your customers who need a plumber or AC repair, Google's looking at all the different companies' websites like these and trying to see which one of these is most helpful to the person doing the search. Okay, so at a glance, again, let's say the on-page SEO and the technical SEO are done correctly. Like, woohoo! These are good. There's nothing superficial here that would make Google want to prefer one or the other, right? These are both nearly identical. Where this comes in is a couple things. One, we're going to talk about time. So if this guy's been around for a while, everybody knows this particular duck because of the bonnet, and the bonnet gets a lot of love from people. Everyone knows it. And then one day, this duck decides to pop up. Google's going to be like, who the crap is this duck? There's no bonnet. It doesn't mean that it doesn't like it, and it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with this one. It is compared to this one that Google knows, understands, has history with. This new duck, it's kind of starting from zero. So it's going to have some work to do just for Google to recognize them as the same. It's not going to like launch your website, launch a business, whatever, and magically overnight, Google treats them separately. Google's time frame is you can expect movement between 4 and 12 months, right? So it means if this guy's been here for a while and this guy's new, you can expect 4 to 12 months of this guy just doing this. That's it, okay? Now, that's variable number one is time. Another big variable that sometimes has to do with time, but it's a little bit different, and this is going to be off-page signals. So for that, I'm going to bring in some other helpers. Sorry, this is really dumb, but thank you for going with me on this. Okay, So this little fella here, I'm going to call this a backlink. A backlink is another website that links back to you and gives your site credibility. Okay. So an example would be if you're a member of the local Chamber of Commerce. Generally speaking, Google sees that link from the Chamber of Commerce linking back to you and goes, hey, they're a member of the Chamber. This must be a respectable website, right? What happens though if this duck over here also has a member of the Chamber of Commerce? You see that? Okay, this is a dumb metaphor and I only have two hands. Now all of a sudden, this one link is being used in both times. It's not quite the differentiator. It's helpful because if you didn't have it over here, Google's going to prefer this one, right? But if you both have it, great. If you both have this guy, let's pretend that this is a Yelp directory. I don't know. Cool. If you both have a Yelp directory, awesome. Google still doesn't have the ability to know which one's better or worse. You both kind of have the same links. You have the same sources of credibility. Again, all the on-page is done, all the technical stuff done, all these same off-page sources are saying this is credible. What happens if I bring a big rubber duck with a propeller? I don't know how I got on this, guys. I'm so sorry. But what happens if this Evel Knievel duck decides to throw all of its weight to this non-bonnet duck, right? This big, hefty backlink, this from a big, hefty website. Let's pretend like it's a news article from a national news outlet. If they do something and they post on this company's behalf, guess what? Google sees this link right here. This big duck is lending a lot of authority and a lot of credibility. And if Google's looking at these, all things being equal, the bigger duck wins. Not because it's Evel Knievel, which, I mean, come on, let's be honest, it's kind of an awesome looking duck, but because this is a more authoritative, a more difficult to get backlink. This signal shows a high degree of trust from this big Evel Knievel duck to the small bonnetless duck. The problem that happens is these links, like these connections, are very difficult to get. They take a lot of time, a lot of effort. Sometimes it takes a lot of money. And so you can't just go and like throw money at it. You can't just hire a company and say, hey, I want a link from the biggest duck you can find. Sometimes it works that way, but most of the time, these are like the holy grail. Like you have to work your tails off, sometimes for months or years, to get one that's this credible. It is not an easy thing. And remember, if somebody else woke up today and also had the same big rubber duck, then it's kind of negated out. The advantage is lost. So when you're thinking about SEO, keep in mind, it's not just I'm paying someone to do something, right? You are, but your competitors are also paying somebody to do something. And if your competitors are doing the same strategies, if they're getting the same links, you have to find a way to get around them. And sometimes that means a bigger duck. Sometimes that means more smaller ducks, but all of those are going to take time and effort. There's not really a scenario, especially in the large market, where you can do a little bit of work and kind of slowly dribble things out and kind of slowly invest and make those moves and expect Google to make big monumental shifts on how well your business ranks. A lot of those times it's going to take months and months and months, sometimes years and years and years. If you're not in a competitive market, it's a whole lot easier, right? If you're in the panhandle of Texas, if you're in central Illinois, a lot of those efforts are just a lot more efficient. It's less competitive. But if you're in a Chicago, a Dallas, a Boston, you bet that there's already several companies that have really big duck links pointing back to them. And it's just going to take time and work to compete with those bigger companies. So it doesn't mean your SEO is not working. It doesn't mean that there's not stuff getting done. It just means that there's a lot of stuff that has to happen off your website to help Google understand how it should rank when you have big ducks in your market. This is the weirdest analog storytelling thing I've ever done on a call. So I hope this is helpful, and I hope the rubber ducks didn't confuse you too much. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you because SEO is a big topic. It's a big field of study, and it gets really confusing really quickly. So I'd love to hear from you. What questions do you have? Does this help? What sort of struggle have you seen looking for bigger ducks? Love to hear from you. Leave a comment below. As always, guys, follow us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. Peace out.